Joel Friday TV. What is up, everybody? Joel Friday TV is going to be live after Hake today. It is 9 a.m. here in Los Angeles. By the way, American Anchor Baby will be probably later today than normal. Late afternoon, evening. Or we'll see, you know. He got stuff to take care of, as you may have heard JLP mention. It is Wednesday, July 3rd, AD 2024. Gonna have a fun, hopefully fun, loosey-goosey The Hake Report show, everybody. What is up? D Live. What's up, Kick? Hey. YouTube, of course, live on Rumble. I may show you guys some AI Jesus stuff. Somewhat amusing, you know, just sort of fun. I have some super chats to read. There was one super chat that came in about the avocados that I missed yesterday. I was telling you at the end of the show about cutting avocados. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go live on IG. They always, we suspect automated behavior. Hello, you guys give me, yeah, they don't let me go live. It's a mess. Instagram, that's Instagram. They're a mess. They're terrible. I like them, though. I like being on IG. Joel Friday, they let Joel Friday on Instagram. How come they don't let me on Instagram? Whatever. Mamas. What else? Oh, there's fear-mongering about Trump banning abortion. I touched on that yesterday, that, you know, he's kind of like God in that you guys want to do this evil thing? All right, I'm not going to stop you. You guys want to have a king? All right, I'm not going to stop you. I am your king, but you want to have a king? Okay, he'll be evil and he'll rule over you. So, anyway, guys, let's just get right on with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. La la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. As you may know, I am wearing my Uniting the Races with Truth instead of Dividing Them with Lies t-shirt. I am wearing it. By the way, I did see another super chat from Greggatron. Thanks, man. And Lin Yan Chen. Hey. Hey. So go to rebuildingtheman.com/stores, rebuildingtheman.com/stores for your super chat, for your t-shirt, like Hake's. Did you know that it is White History Month, and White History Month is about uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies? Whereas these other phony history months are about dividing the races with lies instead of uniting them with truth. You ever notice that? And they lie with facts, too, by the way. Just a little heads up on that. They lie with facts. Deceivers. Did you know that deceivers use facts? Satan used facts from the Bible to try to trick Jesus. It didn't work. But it works on you guys. Am I right? I know I'm right. So shout out to JLP, and shout out to the white people, and shout out to the white-friendly people who love white people. Right? You should love them. We preach love, not hate. But haters want to hate. Shameful. Shameful. I'm a little distracted by Lin Yan Chen's super chat. Lin Yan Chen gave a super chat saying, wow. Wow, Hake. Well, he didn't even say Hake. Wow. Time to send my chats to your competitor, Alex Blouse of Sparkle. He's calling Nick the American Anchor Baby Alex. That's fair, though, because he gave me some super chats because he was saying Nick is too shallow. Nick the American Anchor Baby is too shallow to comprehend these super chats. So he sent them to me, and I did not understand his, have you noticed the reap and grape have the same core value of taking without permission? I suspect one is branched off the other while holding a tone of disdain. Reap must precede grape. And I was searching, but not finding some understanding of reap. Remember that yesterday? It was painful. Probably as painful for you guys. Yeah, I made Instagram work. Instagram's working. We'll see how long it lasts. They cut me off sometimes. We're cutting you off. Isn't that wild, though? I try, and he doesn't even explain himself. He normally does explain himself. Maybe he explained himself in the comments section. Thank you, Lin Yanshin. I appreciate your efforts and your feedback, man. I like his feedback. Okay, Greggatron also says, Lord. Hey, I agree with you. TERRI Strange, T-E-R-R-I, not T-E-R-R-Y. TERRI with a Y can be a man's name or a woman's name. Strange is beautiful. You should ask her out. No, Greggatron, not like that. But thank you. That's kind. Also, you should have Frederick as a guest or co-host. Rika. Get Mark in there, too, since you live in Cali. Or California. That would be a heck of a panel. Also, I sent you an email. Check it out. Thank you for the heads up on the email. I shall look out for that, hopefully. You know what I mean? Hopefully, I shall. I'm so bad at emails. Karen Williams, you know Karen? The sometimes inappropriate but fun and friendly lady. Sometimes not so friendly, but overall fun and friendly. She has sent me emails and she's told me about them and I still haven't even seen them yet. Terrible. So I'm really bad about emails. Just a heads up, it's not personal. It's not right, but it's not personal. Don't be offended. I know. Okay, super chat, Streamlabs. A coffee from Yenrik Yagoda. Hake, we're 3 days into July and you have not said Happy Disability Pride Month. Sad. Also, I want to share an observation I've made of you. You sometimes say there were good and bad insert group. That is actually how communists think. Communists don't care about good or bad individuals. They believe that systems are either good or bad. Which system do you believe in? Wow. Interesting. Which system do you believe in? I believe in the system of white supremacy. I'm just kidding about that a little bit, I think. Pretty sure. I suppose. Haven't really thought deeply about it. But I believe in the system that's sensible. Such as, capitalism. I think capitalism is a fair system overall, but it has to be tempered by Christianity. There's Christian capitalism and there's unchristian capitalism. I call it commie capitalism, but that might be unfair. Because communism is not the only evil. It's just a name that was like one of the major wolves in sheep's clothing, of course. Marx and his cockamamie mama spirit ideas. Correct me if I'm wrong, you Marx knowers. You're welcome to correct me if I'm wrong. But that was one of the major influences on people, turning people away from God. It's an atheist philosophy, I believe. You have to be atheist to be socialist. A Marxist, anyway, I heard. So I don't think that system is right, but they use capitalism, which means just exchanging things of value. And making yourself more valuable. Bringing more to the table. System. I believe in law and order. I believe in like a I suppose I believe in a constitutional republic. I am an American after all. But nobody respects the Constitution. Nobody cares. But there are good and evil people. So communists don't care about good and bad individuals. I do. I guess. I mean, the more individuals are corrupt, the more corrupt the whatever system is going to be. Look at Christianity. It's been so polluted and corrupted by the people and the people's bad understanding, lack of understanding. So, very interesting question, Yenrik Yagoda. I like your name too, by the way. It may be a full-on dox, or it may not be. But there were good and bad slave owners. You think the communists think that there were good and bad slave owners? Maybe they would. Maybe some of the ones who pretend to be more fair-minded, such as that black guy, Cornel West, Dr. Cornel West, he would probably say, oh, these racists are, there's good and bad racists. So, but thank you for the, belated Happy Disability Pride Month. I didn't know that there was a disability pride. Maybe I forgot. Maybe the skim didn't let me know. Thanks, Yenrik Yagoda. Pretty amusing and interesting. Pardon me if I'm coming up short. Never sending you email ever again, Hake. Side-eye emoji, says Karen Williams. I'll look for it. I guess that's what I deserve. Doesn't matter to me either way. I never see it. It's not good, though. It's not good. I hope to repent one day. Mark in Los Angeles is on the line, guys. Mark, thank you for calling and holding there, man. What is up?
Thank you. Happy White History Month.
Thank you. You too.
Your favorite caller called yesterday.
Maze?
And, huh?
Maze?
No, the clown from Phoenix. I call him your favorite caller.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He said that the so-called FBI was talking about the Nazis being a threat. Of course, that's a big lie. But the reason I called is because actually one of your competitors on the internet had an interview, well, not an interview, but sort of a on the street type deal, talking to different communists in the country, and they're advocating violence if Trump is reelected. They're the ones the FBI should be looking at. But first of all, I don't even know if the FBI is looking at anybody, because you can't believe a word your friend says. But whoever they're looking at, they're not looking at the real threat, which are Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and other communists who have vowed to demonstrate and try to tear America down if Trump is reelected.
Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting that when I heard that clown say that, I had just watched the video of this woman competitor that you have that actually talked to communists who said they were going to tear America down if Trump wins. And my question is, what is the FBI going to do about it? And do they really even care?
They care a little bit insofar as they want to protect their institution, whatever happens, whether communism wins or loses, quote unquote, in the world, they want to stay in power. So they go after any organization that seems to have sway, and communists, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and their ilk and others, have a lot of Bernie bros. They have a lot of sway among the young and dumb.
Would that include agents in the FBI?
Oh yeah, I'm sure that there are FBI agents and tipsters to the FBI within those organizations. So they have their fingers in any popular organization because they want power. Anybody who's power hungry is going to gravitate toward what's popular to try to infiltrate and or get some influence on that organization or movement.
So okay, you had mentioned earlier. So I think somebody may have asked you what form of government you believe in.
Yeah.
Did you get okay? What would you say if someone suggested a National Socialist style government?
I don't know. I've heard that there were good things that were happening, they kind of
The trains
made things
ran on
efficient.
time.
What's that?
No, I was just saying, under Hitler, the trains ran on time.
Right. And that kind of requires a disciplined people. And I think the Germans in general are very disciplined and orderly, organized. I don't think that's even controversial statement. So they naturally become that way. If it was National Socialism in South Africa, the trains would never be on time because it's a different type of people.
They would never have a National Socialist government there.
No, they have a communist government, I heard.
I mean, communism stuff doesn't work right. And
what's the difference between National Socialism and communism? I get that there's a difference in that outside influences. Communism is more globalist, maybe?
Well, one thing about National Socialism in Germany, it was voted in democratically by the people. In Russia, it was a Bolshevik revolution. It was not a people's revolution like in Germany. That's one distinction. And there are many distinctions on the issue of race between the two philosophies.
Right.
But basically, National Socialism was a reaction to the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917 in Russia. I think that was the year 1917 when Bolsheviks took over. And Hitler came to power about a little over a decade later in reaction to the communists taking power in Russia. So they were a threat to all of Europe. There were a lot of commies in Germany, and Hitler was a reaction to that. Much in the same way that Trump is a reaction to an open border,
right?
Crime in the streets. And the other thing, I don't know if you mentioned this a couple of days ago, when the Supreme Court ruled that Trump has presidential immunity, basically that destroys every one of these fraudulent cases against him. And they will not, I should say, sentence Trump on July 17th because of the Supreme Court ruling, which means, factually speaking, Trump is not, I repeat, not a convicted felon. Until if and when he is sentenced,
right,
which may not even happen. There's a hope that Bragg, the commie DA from New York, may dismiss the whole case.
Bragg is the black guy, though, right? Alvin Bragg.
Yeah,
he's black and fat and shameless. Like he's
a nasty character. He is funded by Soros.
Yeah,
Soros is his puppet master. But being that the Supreme Court ruled in Trump's favor on immunity, and much of the evidence used in the criminal trial against the president would have to be thrown out because it violated the immunity clause. And another thing, I don't want to take up a lot of your time and change subjects a lot, but I think his name was Aaron from Aaron C. or whatever he called himself.
Of Aaron C., yeah.
Okay, he called in last week and criticized me for criticizing the auditors. All I would tell you to do, Hake, just look at their videos. Listen to what they say to the police. They flip the cops off when the cop comes to address the situation.
Right.
They want his badge. They want his name. They want to try to sue. They're in it for the money. They're not in it because they care about people's constitutional rights.
Yeah.
If you look at who these auditors are, a lot of them are communists. A lot of them are pure white haters, cop haters, Trump haters. There's nothing good about any of them. And I feel that the only way to control these demons is to do what they did in Oklahoma, which is to pass a law that says, unless you're involved in a crime scene, you must stay 20 feet back, which would put these demons out of business. But they harass cops everywhere. Just look at the video.
Okay.
Now,
interesting input. Go ahead.
Sure. When you spoke to Aaron, you were sort of on the fence.
I'm on the fence on this issue. Yes, I am.
Then you need to look at the audio or the auditors themselves.
I'm like Joel. I feel like I understand both sides. You know Joel Friday. I don't know if you catch his shows, but
I know he is.
let me explain to you why I sympathize with his view as well as your view. I definitely lean more honestly towards your side because the cops are having to deal with a major crime problem. You would talk about the problem race, but that crime problem is spreading, and the disrespect for police and for authority is spreading. And
Yes.
and that disrespect and the corruption is infecting even the police. The police are becoming, many of the police are black, many of the police are Hispanic, many of the police are not the best quality whites either.
Agreed.
And so the police are becoming corrupt too. So that's where I start to sort of understand that we need
Okay,
not to
so
turn a
let me-
blind eye to wrongdoing by the police, because the police are being run by liberal, evil politicians against the whites and against
I
the
agree
Christians.
in most there are areas of the country, though, where that isn't the case. But I
Right.
agree in general what you're saying. The question is, do they have the right to flip off a cop, and then when the cop comes back to confront him, try to get him fired and give him the business? And that's all they do. They provoke and bait the police
Yeah.
in order to get a lawsuit.
Right,
what's
that's
the-
evil.
Okay, so tell me,
That's mess.
what's the good end on this? What's the pro-auditor argument?
That's just ego. There is, yeah, I don't know of any good auditors or bad auditors. So I haven't really, I've seen a little bit of it. JLP has interviewed people who are like, film the police, these blacks, but there's some, I don't know, I know that there are critics, harsh critics of police and people who are suspicious of police, and critical of police, who are actually reasonable people who've called into my show and stuff like that.
That are auditors?
No, not that are auditors. No. Yeah, auditors specifically, I don't know. I don't know that.
Well, just remember, and Rockwell was the one who coined this term, the thin blue line that the white race depends on to save us from the black savages that are out there. That's who I feel the police are. And when these auditors go after them, and we know the auditors have bad intentions,
Yeah.
I mean, I just can't see any fence sitting on this. They're the enemies. They hate the cops. They make the cops' jobs harder. I don't know how many policemen have lost their jobs over these creeps, and I don't know how many millions of dollars cities have paid to these con artists. Is basically what they are. And I hope Aaron is hearing me right now. They're bad people. The
All right.
auditors are bad, and most of them are snivel writers.
Snivel writers? Nice. Yeah.
Yep, they really are. I mean, just check them out. You'll see.
Okay. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it, Mark.
God bless you. Thank
You too. Take care. CJ in Texas is on the line here. What's up, CJ? How you doing? Are you there? CJ, come off of mute, you boomer.
Hey, I'm doing great.
Hey, good to hear from you.
Yeah. So, boy, man, just having another episode. So, the train's running on time was a phrase to describe Mussolini's Italy, not Nazi Germany.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you absolutely.
And
get
Mussolini
convicted.
Mussolini was a communist or a fascist?
He was a fascist in Italy.
He was the original fascist.
Yeah. So
Okay.
brilliant, Mark.
But that's the same
you
thing, basically, right? It's Italians
Yeah,
being nationally socialist or something like that, right?
Yeah, except for a totally different country and different leader, and yeah, I mean,
Okay.
other than that, it's the same thing.
Right.
He was trained in Italy.
Okay.
Right. All right. You absolutely get convicted before you get sentenced. You do not wait till you get sentenced before you become a convicted felon. You have to be convicted before you can get sentenced. You don't sentence people that aren't convicted. Wrong on that.
I think, but okay, yeah, I don't really care about that fine point that they're trying to make. I've seen that fine point that they're trying to make on Twitter, and I've made it myself. I'm like, well, actually, according to Twitter, they're not convicted until they're sentenced. But okay, fine. I'll surrender that one. Because I don't really care. Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. Then he said that all of the case was going to get overturned because the evidence used violated the immunity clause. There's no immunity clause in the Constitution. That's just a Supreme Court ruling that just got made.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
Okay, he's misusing words. Right. He's putting words that are not there. Fair enough.
Then most of the auditors are First Amendment auditors, and they don't go around filming cops. That's mostly Cop Watch.
Cop Watch. That's what I was thinking of. We had somebody from Cop Watch on on
So yeah,
the JLP show.
Yeah. So I guess Mark thinks that it's evil and anti-cop to walk into a city hall with a camera and videotape them, or to just walk into a library with a video camera, because that's all First Amendment auditors do, is just walk around videotaping in public spaces, which is your constitutional right to do. And yeah, cities lose lots of money through their police departments when police decide that it is their job to enforce policies of public buildings instead of the law, right? And they're law enforcement officers. They're not policy enforcement officers. And yeah, the 20 feet that you have to stand away from a cop, that's like the Supreme Court, but you can't stop people from filming officers in the course of their duty.
Uh-huh.
It's not unpatriotic. It's not hating cops. I watch, I know lots of auditors. I don't know any of them that just flip off cops. Maybe this one guy, but I'm not going to name drop him, but almost all of them are very respectful people. And, I would say that they exhibit more tolerance and respect than I've ever heard Mark use. And then Mark starts talking about how it's communist to not do individuals, but to whole systems that are wrong. And then he talks about every single auditor like they're the worst ones that he's ever seen as a whole entire group. So,
well,
anyway.
I think it's fair. I think you're nitpicking, in my opinion, on that note, because he's just giving his impression on the ones that he's seen. Like, overall, the ones on Facebook, Reels or whatever that he's watched have been dirtbags.
All right. Well, I'm going to get off just every single point that Mark made had a
flaw.
Was wrong. Yeah, all of it. So,
but I think his main points still stand. It's just that there's some distinctions that make it not quite true. Like, yeah, okay.
Before you educate, just make sure you're right.
Fair enough.
Anyway,
thank you.
Out. Bye.
Thanks. Take care. CJ in Texas, Tejas. Right on. Right on. Okay, so before I get back to calls, hang tight, callers. I will get to you. I see you. You are appreciated. But let me show you guys AI Jesus. I saw this on Facebook. No, I saw this on Commie Nonsense Network. They had a bunch of links to Facebook. Because AI is a mess. And it's all over Facebook. Anybody go on Facebook still? Press 1 if you do. Press 2 if you don't. Look at this AI image of a cute little Mexican-looking kid. He looks like Alfonso. Today is my birthday, and I get some love here. Posts Tyler Baker, who has like a picture of a Asian-looking little baby. And it has this AI image of a little kid in the trashed up, littered up median between two like freeway on-ramps and off-ramps and some state highway, you know. Busy traffic, cars, twilight, I imagine. Or maybe it's dawn. You know, early morning. Not dawn, but early morning. I think it's late evening. Late afternoon, evening. And there's a birthday cake with lit candles, lighting up his face aglow with a cardboard that says, "Today is my birthday." And there's like all these people imaging, liking it. Isn't that cute? But they try to pull on your heartstrings. Here's another one. Why don't pictures like this ever trend? And it trends. Has like 4,000 likes and hearts. It's a policewoman waist deep in flood water, coming off of a police boat, maybe out on a river or something, or a flood, or the ocean, and she's holding a huge holy Bible, just soaked, water dripping, it's pouring down rain, and she's like crying. She got a gun, So cool. Why don't pictures like this ever trend? Heart emojis and sleeping emojis. Crazy. And then they say AI pictures of Jesus. I got those from CNN. AI images have become an unavoidable roadside attraction on Facebook. Oh, it says Poly Bible. Yeah, that's funny. Good catch, Joel Friday. He reads, I don't read. AI pictures of Jesus on social media are suspiciously rugged. Rugged? By rugged, they mean, I guess, ruggedly handsome. Like handsome, somewhat masculine. And we only have ourselves to blame, says A.J. Willingham, a female writer whose name I recognize. I probably read her morning updates on the Hake News, on the J.C. Lee Peterson show from CNN. It's an article from July 1st in Commie Nonsense website. And it has this picture of Jesus looking like a Chad on the cross with his long, flowy hair. You guys think that this is white. I don't see that as necessarily white. That's like ambiguous. You guys, you blacks anyway. You're like, oh, white Jesus. That's ambiguous Jesus. That's like Hassan or something. Like, you can't tell. That's not white. Ooh, blonde. That's not blonde hair. That's like brown hair. It's ambiguous. Anyway, here's another one of supposedly of Jesus with an old, sickly lady. Oh, my goodness. AI images of Jesus depict the Christian Savior in innumerable situations. They often focus on his physical appearance as well, or at least CNN does. Look at this. Another Chad Jesus with flowy, washed hair. Do you think they had hair that smooth and washed and flowy like that back in the day? With highlights in it? Looking like woke Bay. You guys are familiar with woke Bay? That looks like the Turk. That young Turk's cousin. Hassan Piker. See, this one, the one before it looked like Hassan, our Hassan with 2 S's. This one looks like Hassan with 1 S. Piker. My competitor on Twitch. Is he still on Twitch? Is he back on Twitch? He used the C word for whites. This one is a little bit funny. This is not from the thing, I don't think. It's an image of Jesus with the devil in a headlock on a t-shirt. Just funny. That was just funny. This is a weird one. CNN has shared this picture of Jesus as some fruit with his fruit head. Anyway, his head is a fruit. Not your ordinary fruit, and he's like hanging from a tree or something. But not in a evil or gory way. It's just weird. I was surprised by this one. He's hanging over I don't know what this is. With a crown of thorns. Cool, huh? There was a link, sour sop vibes, says Hassan. Was Jesus a man of color? Why this question matters more than ever. Another article from Commie Nonsense website by John Blake, who looks like a light-skinned, or maybe a dark-skinned white. Hat tip to JLP's greatest producer, Sean. Greatest at this point. To be determined if he will remain in that position. But anyway, check this out. There's a picture of like black Jesus. Black. Well, I mean, pretty dark. Shout out to the blacks. A mural of black Jesus at St. Cecilia's Catholic Church in Detroit, Michigan. Wow. I'm always surprised by black Catholics, but there are some. There is William from California. There is Clarence Thomas. Did you know that Justice Clarence Thomas, is Catholic and he's black and Southern? I don't get how they didn't really explain why it matters more than ever, at least not that I saw. In some parts of the country, the white Jesus never left. I never saw any white Jesus. He was never clearly white, but he was pretty clearly not full-blown black, though, in these pictures. So I guess if you're not full-blown black, then you're white in their mind. The spread of white Christian nationalism has flooded social media feeds with images of the traditional white Jesus, writes this white hater. Our greatest president, Trump, selling a God Bless the USA Bible, KJV, by the way, with passages from the Constitution and Bill of Rights linking patriotism with Christianity that reinforces a white image of Jesus central to Christian nationalism. I don't get how he thinks that. I guess it's just acknowledging that whites brought some civilization into the world with some of our countries, some of the white countries, some of the countries that we're appreciating this month. Jesus wearing a Make America Great Again hat, MAGA. I remember this picture, The Head of Christ by Walter Salmon, from back in the day, maybe probably less than 100 years ago, I think. Does that look white to you? Not really. Not to me. They were flying. They were showing pictures of this. They were showing this image in Haiti. They made him look a little bit more ambiguous in this Haiti picture. A lot of Haitians are pretty dark-skinned. After that Haitian earthquake, I didn't know that Haitians were Christian. I thought that they were. I thought that there was a lot of that evil stuff, voodoo and things like that. Look at all these pictures of Jesus, statues of a black Jesus displayed in an Africa shop at the south of the border complex, 2006 in Dillon, South Carolina. What? Maybe they're blacks in Mexico. But this Jesus has, his hair's still kind of, I don't know, doesn't look all like some blacks have their hair, you know, when they have long hair. It's all like... Interesting. What a mess, huh? They were saying that Jesus, they make Jesus looking like a very handsome, they call it rugged person, and that's because an AI does it because they take after the way that we depict him. We've depicted him over time. Anyway, yeah, I think they go overboard calling everything white. If you're not black, you're white. I think that's kind of the thing of, that's a thing by blacks. If you're not black, you're white. Shout out to the blacks, right? It's partly why they go after the Asians. How an iconic painting of Jesus as a white man was distributed around the world. Ridiculous. Some of them, they don't make him look rugged. They make him look soft. They make his face kind of defined. His face is defined, but it's still like soft and smooth and effeminate, in my opinion. Would he have had a weathered face at 33 years old? Here's one where he's looking like Rocky a little bit, boxing an ugly devil. Check this one out. And then I'll wrap up and get back to calls. Hang tight, callers. Look, would you look at that? Oh, there's tattoos on this Jesus. Ugh. Calm down. Everybody has an image of Jesus, don't they? The liberals and communists and atheists have an image of Jesus that justifies their hatred and disdain for the Christians. I'm done with that picture. That's nasty to me. Too ugly. He looks strong, though. Almost as strong as Hake. But, ugh. Thank you, Hassan. But they always have, like JLP says, don't have an image. I think that's maybe a good idea, especially when you have an assumption about his personality traits. You think you're being like Jesus, and you have some crazy cockamamie idea about Jesus and God in your head, and it's not right. It's not right. Hake is not strong, says Christ conquers. Whatever. You don't know me. I might be deceptive. I might be like... What's that guy's name who died? So I guess he's not strong either. Bruce Lee. But in his mind he is, so all thoughts are lies. Mess. Robert in Kansas is on the line over here. What is up, Robert in Kansas? It's good to hear from you.
Hey.
Hey.
Good to hear from you, sir.
Nice.
I've been on hold. I called in for, you were talking about socialism or national socialism versus communism.
Yeah.
And that's why I called, and it's what it is, Hake, is that, it is the war that we are in. It's always national socialism versus communism. That's the entire world that we live in. And what it is basically is that communists don't think there is a God.
Right.
And national socialists think there is a God, and that man, white men specifically, were made in his image, and that they should rule the world. Where communists believe that the Seraphim fallen from heaven shall give us the power to rule over this creation. And that's really the difference, is that there's a group of people who believe in God and a group of people who believe in the fallen that have controlled the world since Babylon.
Where did you get that that the National Socialists believe that the white man should rule the world? Because aren't there like black National Socialists and other National Socialists?
Yep, and the black National Socialists are right as well, in the sense that man should rule over the world and not Satan. That you have a competition.
But doesn't Satan infect the white man too?
Oh, Satan has infected us all, sir.
Yeah, so if the white man is possessed by Satan, then his running the world is going to be Satan running the world.
Well, his running the world means that you don't have this oppression of humanity in sense of abortion, acceptance of homosexuality. You don't have this destruction of the family unit, the father being disempowered from his position. It's a rule by man. Man is in charge of the world. We should have dominion and rule over it, as opposed to Satan, who is now in charge, as we can all see. And we fought these wars, right? Men have fought these wars, whether it's the Civil War, World War II, whatever. And we've lost. We've lost to this Seraphim, who now rules over us.
Where are you saying Seraphim? That sounds like something Frederica said. Seraphim.
Well, Frederica, hey, my black brother, right? Frederica.
Angelic being regarded as belonging to the highest order. So angels? Seraphim?
Well, what did God make Satan?
He was a fallen angel, right? I heard.
Well, what God made Satan is he said, hey, you're the one angel who's going to know what I know. I'm going to give you all the stuff that I have to deal with. And then what happened? There was pride. There was rebellion against the Creator. And he was cast out. And he has fallen to this land that we are on. And now he rules. And what I'm saying is that man is a better ruler than Satan. And that's the difference between communism and National Socialism. National Socialism means for the people. for the man.
But that's what the communists say, too. They think they're for the people.
No, they're for atheism. They don't believe in a God.
I know
Man
that.
is not the image of God.
I know that.
Man is just an economic unit to be used and exploited.
How do you guard against? I don't think that the battle is a National Socialism versus communism thing. I think it's a battle of good versus evil happening inside people. So evil can infect the National Socialist. It can infect the so-called Christian, just as it can infect the atheist and the communist. So you have to, you can't just rest on your laurels thinking you're the good guy because you're a white man and a Christian and quote unquote believe in God. You have to guard against evil inside of yourself.
Well, as a white man, Hake, like yourself, or as if you are Hispanic, Mexican, or black, or Asian, or whatever you happen to be, I would just say to you that I would seek your leadership, brother, over the. I don't want to cuss, Hake. Over
nice.
Over the.
Thank you for not cussing.
over the ruler of this underworld. Okay, so if you happen to be whatever, black, and you are a good man and you seek prosperity among your neighbors and your people, well then that's different than again, Hake, I'm be good for your show.
You're passionate about this.
No, it's just, Hake, listen, there is a God, sir, and there is fallen angels, and this is all real. And they are really trying to destroy the image of God. Okay, so yeah, I am passionate about it, and if you think that a man's rule is inferior to this Seraphim, it's just, man, look around. They have control. They're ruling us, and either you figure it out that you got to bring it back towards humanity has dominion over the earth, and not this Seraphim that would teach you the absolute opposite of truth at every level. That's what it is, man. It's man is imperfect and corrupted and weak and stupid and all these things.
Right.
But man, it's not like having a committed evil over you that is just trying to turn women against men, turn black men against white men, turn everybody against each other and destroy them against each other. That's what's happening now. They want wives to be in competition with their husbands and to not raise their kids. You know this stuff,
right?
And that's what that is that they want no fathers in the home, and they want to, they want to do everything that you've seen them do your entire life, Hake. And that's what it is that you allow these wars, these civil war. You think, oh, the good guys won the Civil War. You people have no idea what Lincoln is. You show Lincoln in your intro. Do you know who Lincoln is? You know what Lincoln did?
In my intro?
Yeah, you know what Lincoln. I mean, if you have been told one story about Lincoln, but if you ever really learned what Lincoln really was, you would never show that man ever.
Well, thank you, Robert in Kansas. I appreciate it, man. It's good to hear from you.
All right, Hake. Love you, brother. Bye.
Bye. Art in Ohio is on the line here. Art from Ohio. It's good to hear from you, man. What is up?
Hey, what's up, Hake? How you doing?
Doing well. How about you?
I'm all right.
Cool.
So check this out. I wanted to get on there with the last caller or whatnot. He said that, I might be wrong or whatnot.
Okay.
But I could have swore that, going back to the fallen angels and when God kicked Satan out of heaven or whatnot, because if I'm not mistaken, I thought that the devil and Satan, he was a harp harp player, a fine musician.
Yeah, I
You
think he
know,
was.
like,
I think he was called Lucifer, the angel of light, and I think
Yeah.
he did music. I think,
yeah,
if I'm understanding the Bible correctly and what I've been told.
yeah, for sure. Okay, I think we're on the same page. I.e., that's why music is supposed to be of the devil. Like my great grandmother used to say that. Cut that devil music off. Yeah,
Right.
she used to say that.
And you'll notice
Yes,
that
sir.
even like the Christian music, the Christian music is by a bunch of liberals too, and it's emotional and going down the wrong path very frequently. Sometimes it has like a nice message, but so often it's corrupt.
You know, real church music. We talking about, and I'm using this analogy. If you from my era, Young Jeezy the rapper and old Gucci Mane when they first came out, they authentic.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? They didn't have no industry pushing. All their pushing came from the street, meaning street money.
All right.
You know what I mean? And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Long story short, if you know, you know. Long story short, going back to what we was just talking about before that, with the Christian music, if you know grassroots music, you know, then you know stuff that's small roots, original. You know, ain't been funded and put. But most of that industry, Kurt Franklin, that's devil stuff.
You might be right.
Yeah, like
but I think that music can infect even like I joke around and say all musicians are liberals, and I'm only half joking. I'm half serious because it's meant to pull you into emotions and put you into a trance. You're like hypnotized by it. It's like it changes your whole mood sometimes when you just go with it. And it like all seems well with the world, or you rebel or revel or whatever, wallow in different emotions with music.
Now check this out real quick, and I'm gonna try to get back to my whole point of what the original call was about.
Okay.
So it was somebody I was just talking to a while ago. I don't know if it was at work somewhere. It probably might have been more at work because that's probably, really the only thing I do is just work and stuff, home and work. So I'm thinking it's more so.
Nice.
So there was some artist back there in the 1960s. One of them old singers, like one of them OJ singers or something. He sang gospel music.
Oh.
And everything was good. When he was singing gospel music, everything was good. He was surviving. People knew him because he was grassroots. But everybody, if you go to a small bar in the neighborhood where you live at, because they known for playing good music and having good food, then that's the word around town or whatnot. You can be the smallest place, but everybody keep hearing all around the world, keep hearing about this small place in California that serves good food. And basically that's what I'm saying with him, that he was good. That old school artist, that 1960 artist was, when he was singing Christian music, he was still able to live. But they said as soon as because he kept getting asked by the liberals to go and make some funk music or some like jazz, something liberal or whatnot, and he went over and started doing it, left the gospel. What God sent him, put him down here on the earth to do, he went and started that liberal mainstream, whatever it was called, and everything started going bad. As soon as he jumped over from the gospel to the mainstream stuff, everything in his life started going bad.
I can believe that, definitely, because you get your more ego involvement in the music, and you can go down the wrong road. Whereas if you keep it some balance to it, music in moderation. I'm not going to just say, "Oh, you're a devil worshiper," necessarily, but it's just interesting. Okay, nice point.
Just going back to just saying that the music is basically really Satan's genre. When he was cast out of heaven, he was put down here. He was to rule this earth. And if you know that they say that he's blocked. It's some pit that they found it or whatnot, that where they actually God put him at on earth, where he's supposed to be locked away, and then after so many years he's supposed to be released. But the devil is a spirit. You see what I'm saying? So when he's cast down here, or whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't think that man was able to rule him. This is supposed to be Satan's ruling stomping ground, basically. We just supposed to, as people, we just supposed to know and have discernment and recognize, if you follow the Bible and know the Bible, that with somebody is doing the evil, because evil is a spirit that can jump from human to human and infest all humans.
Yeah, right.
If you look at Chicago, you see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. So the devil is not necessarily the God over the creation, the God's creation. He's the God over, the false God over the men and women who are deceived by him. He's a God. Yeah. He's a God, small g God, through deception, the God of this world. Yeah.
Yeah. And the creator, our Father God, this is his playground. He built this all for us in Satan.
Interesting.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, so
I mean, he can definitely, the devil can definitely possess animals, am I right?
Yeah.
Possessed animals.
Yeah, there's a story out the Bible where it was a pig that was a pig that, I think they allegedly Jesus or whatnot, he cast the spirit out of somebody into a pig, and the pig went and ran off a cliff or something like that.
Yeah.
So it killed the
I think it might have been a whole bunch of pigs, herd or something of pigs, and they ran into the water and drowned. Whew.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I think that might be right. I think you got it. Yeah.
Whew, crazy.
But yeah, and then a lot of the stuff he was saying the last call, I ain't gonna be too heavy on him or whatnot. I wanna is what he's saying, is this scripture? Is this Bible scripture? You see what I'm saying? Because
that's a fair question. I don't know. Robert from Kansas, he takes the world around him. He looks at the world around him and comes to conclusions about the world around him. And I'm sure that he's read the Bible, and I am sure he's read other stuff. I don't know how much of it he's getting from the Bible, because a lot of people can read something in the Bible and come to different conclusions, wild conclusions in some cases. Some people think that the earth is flat based on stuff that they read in the Bible, plus their own imagination jumping to conclusions. So I don't know.
Well, I think it's affirming with a slight curvature. I mean, liberals, they're going to take it all the way to the extreme and literally say flat. But I think affirming or something like that, I might be about right, but I still think it's a circle though. I don't think it's what they kind of say it is. I lean when the news and stuff when the news say that something, unless it's verified, I don't really normally rock with it.
Yeah, you don't want to. You want to keep a space. Not necessarily believe something wholeheartedly, because it's surprising how much we swallow and believe, and there's no real basis to it. You just making assumptions or believe in somebody without wisdom.
Well, okay, I'll give you one prime example. Taraji P Henson, the actor, it was just screaming. That was just screaming about she going broke because she messed her own pocketbook up. She messed her own. She had financial control of her own destiny, and she messed it up for herself. Now, she was on there some months ago talking about that she's been getting scammed, she's been underpaid, this, that. And then she's at the BET Award. I ain't pay attention to it. I just caught little tail ends of it or whatnot. And, I seen her on there talking about some bill to 20 some bill everybody screaming about or something. All the liberals are screaming out 25th something.
Oh, yeah. Anchor Baby was talking about this yesterday on his show. Project 2025. To put some supposedly Trump allies into the deep state, so that the deep state's not a bunch of liberals, I think.
Yeah. So this is how the liberals do. And that's what I'm saying. When I see stuff like that, when I see people like that, it make me go all the way to the right. 'Cause I'm like, already, because they screaming all this and this and this and that. But who had control over the last 4 years? They had control over everything. Democrats, they wanted to pass bills and do this. They could have did it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So she's screaming that she broke in Project 20. All this could have been avoided when y'all had control, but the whole time y'all had control, all y'all was talking about women's rights.
Yeah.
Nothing logical, nothing financial. And now that we about to get some type of logic going back.
Taraji P Henson, let me interrupt to say Taraji P Henson is a black female actress / liberal anti-black really, but pretends to be pro-black activist who is she's been caught lying or making up stuff about the police with regard to them supposedly racially profiling her son. She had to apologize because the police released footage
Go ahead.
They exposed how phony and evil and just made up her lies were about the police arresting her son. They didn't even arrest him. They they caught him with drugs, well, marijuana, but it's still drugs, and let him off with like a warning or something. They were quite nice to him. And she said it was UCLA police, it was the Glendale police. So you know how sloppy sometimes blacks and others are with the details of stories, and they get the story completely wrong. She had to apologize. But she's in a lot of these black movies, and now she's fear-mongering. You can catch American Anchor Baby's show yesterday, those of you who are interested. His show yesterday picked scenes of her fear-mongering against Trump, and, they're going to make it a crime if you're experiencing homelessness or something like that. Which it should be, in my opinion, because these homeless bums, I mean, they're the reason that there's increasing homelessness. One, because they're supporting it. They're subsidizing it. They're helping these people too much. And two, because they are supporting the family destruction and and economic destruction that cause people to have a tougher time. Anyway, back to you.
And they screaming about they rights is being taken away. This and that. It's being taken away from y'all liberals. Y'all taking your own rights away from your own self.
Right. Indeed.
Everything they doing. And this the whole problem what I have with females voting, and anybody of any nationality voting that don't know how government works and don't know the Constitution, don't know about America.
So true.
And don't know nothing about economics or have any type of logic is because these dummies that sit here and have you chasing your tail when it's a quick flip fix situation, but they don't want to fix it.
Wow.
And it's like you gave these females, white and black, the right to vote, and only thing they trying to do is go rights to abort babies and go to endless wars.
Yeah.
Ever since they've been voting in the destruction of America, which they don't and they don't get that that's destroying them.
Good point.
Just like I'm saying about Taraji P Henson, they taking our rights. You taking my rights away because it's more females than it is males. This is logically how the earth is right now.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But they taking our rights away as men.
Yeah.
But then they screaming it, they're losing their rights.
You know who else? You know how they, the other way, how they outnumber us, the women, the liberal women, by enlisting young people. Because young people are basically women. They think like women. They don't know. They don't think logically. They think emotionally and pridefully and intellectually. That's basically women.
Yeah. Yeah.
Terrible, man.
But go ahead. I'll catch you later, man. Good talking to you. I'll check back in with you later. Good
Appreciate it, Art. Take care, man.
Yeah. Hey.
Yes, sir.
Hey, tell them we still rolling with Trump, too. I just need to make sure you know that.
That's a fact. Thanks again, Art.
That's a fact. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of ladies, TERRI in Portland, Oregon, on the line. What is up, TERRI? Thank you for holding and calling. What's up?
Oh, my. What amazing calls today.
Indeed.
I don't know how I will measure up. I'm kind of, nervous now. Happy White History Month.
Thank you. Happy White History Month to my Irishman woman gal.
Oh, no. That is so vile sounding. Yeah, I have some notes. I wrote down some things.
Oh, cool.
This is my first White History Month.
Oh, good.
So that's kind of exciting.
Right on.
I hope I learned some things about white history that I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully.
Nice. Hopefully so. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Big Bump may be coming in this week, and he may have some White History Month contributions.
Oh, that's so nice that he's going to teach us whites about our history.
Indeed.
Okay, let's see. So, yeah, I guess to start, you sometimes call yourself half commie when you're moderating the chat. And I
Yeah.
was wondering what you mean when you call yourself a commie. Like, what are you referring to about yourself that's communist?
Well, for example, I don't believe in freedom of speech. I believe in freedom to tell the truth. I don't believe in necessarily freedom to tell facts when you're out of order. I'm for censorship, and I'm for even being a bit capricious with your censorship. So people say, "Oh, you pretend like you're for free speech." No, I don't. I'm for freedom to speak your mind and tell the truth in the public square.
Yeah.
I'm for freedom to tell the truth and not back down from that. But telling the truth, a lot of people think, "Oh, I'm telling the truth," and they're not, or they're on some kick.
Yeah, or they're telling a truth that is irrelevant and detracting from the purpose of why you're there.
Right. Yep.
Which, yeah, when you run a platform, it's important to kind of keep things, not going off into certain areas, obviously.
And sometimes I'm emotional, which is to say
that
communist.
too. Okay.
Like,
Okay.
I don't know, sometimes people say stuff that might not need to be censored, but I'm just going to censor it because it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
It could just be instinctual that something's wrong with that.
Yep.
Okay, that.
So I'm a
okay.
spirit-led communist.
Yes. Yeah, that was another thing I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
So, the atheism in Marxism, you kind of brought that up at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, technically, if you're identifying like yourself, and again, this is another problem with, I think, identifying with ideologies or anything too strongly or anything. But if you're identifying yourself as a Marxist, then, the philosophy behind that is coming from materialism and not idealism. So you're basically, yes, technically an atheist, or you're taking the spiritual out of life. So I think that's something true. But, not everybody who is influenced by Marxism or who even identifies as a communist or even might use that label for whatever they're involved in is going to be somebody that's an atheist. I have met Christians that they get drawn into that because they kind of, I don't know. There's like this very socialist kind of Christianity.
Right.
That's very focused on, the poor and the oppressed and, sacrificing yourself to make their lives better. And this idea that, it's our duty to take care of others.
Did that come in post-atheism or post-communism or pre-Marxism?
Oh, I think it was always with us and always probably will be.
Because it's the spirit of the devil, like the spirit of emotions and, that false love.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. That's fair.
And I mean,
but the communists probably infiltrated. They wanted to get into all the institutions, right? Don't you think they would have infiltrated and convinced young impressionable Christians and the ladies and males to be more communists with their phony values and try to, like Satan tried to hijack the Bible, and so they hijacked Jesus. Go ahead.
There was a time in our country when everybody was Christian,
right?
So like you can't really. It's very hard to say everyone had some sort of connection. Everybody was like a churchgoer. Of course, there were some people that weren't, but the majority of the population was. And so it's hard to say, like, that they were infiltrating. You know, they probably were involved just their whole life.
Oh, okay. So it was the spirit that infiltrated, not necessarily the person. The communist person wasn't infiltrating.
Yeah,
It was more of like a natural. It was more like a
Mm-hmm.
natural decline or natural corruption that occurred in the hearts of the people and the minds of the people.
I don't know if I entirely agree with that. I think, you know, the reformers in this country did a lot of good work to improve our standard of living and, you know, bring us into
Farmers?
the modern era.
Oh, reformers?
The reformers, the past 2 centuries. I don't think.
Well, I'm not
you know,
saying that. I'm not saying that that all reform is wrong, but this feeling sorry for people and all that stuff definitely infected a big part of the free slavery abolition movement, and even even today the pro-life movement. So it's a spirit that infects both sides.
Yeah, I mean it's everywhere, and it's definitely wrong to feel, you know, bad for people. It doesn't help them.
Where I get the atheism and communism thing was I was always told that communism is atheist at root, and also I was listening to Bill Lockwood, the guy who comes on the Jesse Lee Peterson show.
With the big hat.
Yeah, and he's said and researched saying that atheism is the taproot of communism. Marx was an atheist first. He said you cannot conceive of communism without atheism. See the 10 Commandments of Communism from the Young Communist League of 1948. Zhao and Lai.
I don't think that's entirely true. I can see how Christians would gravitate towards
saying that just to scare people away from communism.
No. I can see why they would gravitate towards communism, because there are people actively involved. You know, as Christians, we're supposed to be bringing about heaven on earth. Right. So if you're confused about what that means. True.
That's what Satan came as the angel of light. And the communists pretend like they're for what's right. Like in their minds, they are for what's right, they think.
Yeah. I don't think most people ever, I mean, some people do, but most people are deceived. But
they think they're for what they think they're for love and for the people. Zhao and Lai of the Bandung Conference, 1955, said, "We communists are atheists." This is China, I guess. The Great Soviet Encyclopedia says atheism is the ideological weapon which enabled the revolution. William Z. Foster, national chairman of the Communist Party in America, testified in 1930 to the Fish Committee, precursor to the House Un-American Activities Committee, said atheism is not a formal requirement to join the Communist Party, but a worker who joins must be in the process of liquidating his religious beliefs. Because it kind of is their religion, right?
Yes, it becomes your whole life and world. It becomes the spirit that possesses you, which is, you know, why it's important never to identify too strongly with anything in the world. And
don't they have the philosophy of materialism?
Yes, well,
like they're criminals because they're poor, stuff like that. The poverty causes crime, mumbo jumbo. Right?
Yes, and you don't believe that at all?
Not at all.
I think, I don't disagree with you entirely. You know,
you partly disagree with me. You think that it's.
I think people are more easily seduced into simple, easy misbehavior when they lack options.
But when they have options, they're also more easily seduced. All of the temptations, the temptations may vary. But when you have more power, you have more power to do evil.
That is true.
Yeah, so of course, like your opportunities may change, and the types of, let's say, the types of crimes you do.
The battle is the same. Yeah,
and poverty doesn't come out of a vacuum. Poverty comes from, most of the time, probably one's own immorality, or their parents or their grandparents and stuff. And also, like, the society around them is immoral too, of course.
Hmm.
The government and stuff. You sound worn out.
And the people. I am worn out. Oh, what a world.
Yeah.
But I'd also want to say, I didn't like, what was his name, Robert or Russell? He was giving me bad vibes, and he was saying, he kept saying that, you know, the world belongs to the devils, basically. And, if we think of
when he kept on talking about the Seraphim?
Yes, the fallen Seraphim, the high angels that are, under Satan's, dominion. All of that.
He seemed disturbed by it. So I can understand you that spirit inside of him jumping off onto you and disturbing you too.
It was trying to get in me. Well, I wasn't.
I think there was this evil spirit in you that's disturbed by the evil spirit in him disturbing, I think.
I just wanted to say that, regardless of what happens, we just have to trust that God is in control and is going to work whatever has happened ultimately, for righteousness' sake. People come to power because he lets them, ultimately.
Yeah, true.
So,
and you don't want to be disturbed by him, nor should he, if he's a Christian, be disturbed by the world.
I get dramatic with my language. I'm okay.
But you want to have faith, where faith, you're unshaken by the world. The Bible says not to be disturbed or surprised or dismayed about the evil in the world. But so many of us are dismayed by it. And we go, ugh.
Yes. We don't know what to do about it. And I don't know what we can do about it other than just try to do what's good ourselves.
Yep. Don't be polluted by the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
What else? Oh, I don't know if I want to talk about that. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I want to address this.
Okay.
Because it keeps happening. Why are people shipping us, James?
Shipping?
They're shipping. They're trying to push us together, or they're making weird comments.
Oh.
Or they're sending in super chats, or they're calling in and telling you to ask me out.
Right.
And then talking about us, having kids. It's weird.
But that's how chats are. They are weird. Anytime there's a young woman,
I was is it are there no?
I think you
girls
feed
here?
into it because you play flirty. And so it feeds into it.
Do I play flirty?
And so don't worry about it. Don't worry about the chatter.
Oh.
I didn't know that shipping was the thing. But don't worry about that. It's a mess. That's just mess.
Okay, because they're
I don't think of you like that.
Okay.
I figure that you're kind of half trolling. I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't.
I am half trolling most of the time.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So
okay.
Nice.
All right.
People have never stopped. Every now and then there's something that happens, and the chat never forgets. The snake pit never forgets, and it will become a meme forever.
Oh God.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because that's just talk.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
okay.
Pay no attention to talk. Don't let them put thoughts in your mind.
Oh, they're terrible.
Yeah. That's why I often encourage ladies to stay out of the snake pit. And people in general.
Yeah.
If you want to get more from church, say, don't be in the snake pit because it really is distracting.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, you don't even hear half of what goes on. You miss some of the best stuff.
That is true, and your show is full of gems.
That's kind.
No, it's true though. It's true. I'm surprised sometimes when I'm listening. I'm like, whoa, so much truth being spoken, which is why I said you haven't been shadow banned. that God has like covered you with his feathers.
Indeed.
I think you're being hidden until the time is right for you to actually come,
Nice.
and be visible in the way you need to be. But,
Perhaps
just
so.
have faith. Just have faith. Everything will be okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was it.
Good to hear from you, Terry, in Portland, Oregon.
Thanks for taking my call. All right. Bye.
Our resident communist expert. Oh, she got me at the click. Daniel in Texas. Speaking of white history, Daniel in Texas has been on hold forever, guys. Thank you for calling and holding there, man. What's up?
Hi, James.
Hey.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, definitely.
Man, a lot of great calls. I haven't heard from Artie Art Too Smart in a long time.
Yeah.
And Robert from Kansas, I haven't heard from him. He's been laying low.
Yeah. Robert in Kansas, I wish him well.
Yeah.
Keep your chin up, King, and stay with prayer. And,
I have good news for him. Abraham Lincoln isn't alive anymore.
That is good news. Yeah, he was saying Abraham Lincoln. A lot of people think, it's so funny that we think we're fed a bunch of heroes. Abe Lincoln. And some of them may have been heroes. Abe Lincoln, George Washington, Martin Luther King. That one was more outwardly, openly subversive, in my opinion. But Abe Lincoln, I am Abe Lincoln agnostic in that I don't know whether he was right or wrong in some of the things that he was about.
Well, I encourage people to look into their adversary. Like if you think that somebody is so terrible, you should get to know them.
Yeah.
You know who said that?
I don't know.
Abraham Lincoln.
Wow, He
said, I do not, I forget who he's talking about, but he said, I do not like that man. I should get to know him.
That's funny. Nice.
That's why I studied Robert E. Lee intensely, because I wanted to know him. I knew that it's American history.
Yeah.
But what drives a man to be Lee, and how does somebody become Lee? And the only way I was able to know that was to study him intensely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people kind of get an idea of what Ulysses S. Grant, where he would have come from. I think they get an idea of Abraham Lincoln. I think they get an idea of why these people are the way they are. But then there's the other side. What happens when you dissent? And that's what fascinated me.
The fact that Lee went against the country that he went against the Union, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Lee is not he's not somebody that was slighted. He had a very good career. He was held in high regard. The Union wanted him to stay.
Wow.
They offered him the command of the Army of the Potomac. Lee had everything going for him.
That is interesting.
And many people, think that Lee did the right thing. That everything just went bad.
Yeah.
After the Civil War, and but I think if you really want to know what Abraham Lincoln, how evil he was, you need to read about Abraham Lincoln. You need to get to know him, because I think that's the only way you're going to overcome evil.
Okay. Wow.
But today in history, in 1863, was the loss of Gettysburg and the loss of Vicksburg.
July 3rd, that is, 1963.
Yes,
1863.
Yeah. Those two events that happened on the same day. One was in the Eastern Theater of the War, which was Gettysburg, and one was in the Western Theater of the War, which was Vicksburg. And this is why many historians say that this is a turning point in the war because these were major losses. But my argument is that the war isn't over until it's over, and even though they are seen as losses, they weren't so strategically a loss that it would have ended the war quickly, because the war continued on and the morale in continuing the fight dipped ever lower, even after that point for the Union.
They were
the morale
right. I remember you saying this. It could have changed at any time. It could have gone either way, practically to the very end.
What do you do when you have these perceived victories on your side and the war's still going? Right? You have what you perceive to be major victories. And by the way, Gettysburg was not perceived to be a major victory by Abraham Lincoln. He saw it as a defeat.
Wow.
They did not capture Lee.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
They didn't. Yeah. Lee gets away, and he gets away with many provisions to allow for him to continue campaigning. It's bad for Lincoln. It's really bad. It's bad for Lincoln, and it's bad for the commander of the Army of the Potomac, who is now supervised by Grant, who won at Vicksburg. Now he's pulled over to the eastern theater of the war so that there can be results on this side of the war. And so that all transpires because of the events of this day, July 3rd, 1863.
Nice, man.
Can you clear up what CJ's disagreement with Mark? Well, I couldn't really piece together. They were talking about the police.
Right, with the auditors versus the police. Well, okay, so First Amendment auditors have been going into public buildings and showing how the public buildings or government workers are wasting time, not actually working. And yet they're getting paid by presumably tax dollars or whatever.
Okay.
And they also have gone and confronted police sometimes. And CJ made the distinction that that's cop watch, and not so much these First Amendment auditors. And the part of the confusion is because a prior caller, Aaron C. from Utah, has stood up for the First Amendment auditors against the police. So it's not just First Amendment auditors versus police. It is First Amendment auditors versus all employees, government employees. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that CJ is nitpicking a bit on that point.
I couldn't pinpoint what the disagreement was. I couldn't quite put my finger on it.
I think that it's just that Mark has some details and some aspects of points that are incorrect. Aspects of his point that are incorrect. You know, like like he said, Hitler's trains were on time. Probably they were, but the saying was really Mussolini's trains are always on time, I guess. And so he's just saying, well, actually, he's kind of being a Reddit bro. That's CJ for you.
Okay.
Oh, and Trump is not actually a convicted felon. I think there's intelligent people on both sides of that, and dumb people on both sides of that. Oh, he is convicted because the jury voted. Do juries vote? The jury voted, if you will, to convict him. And so is he convicted? Is he not convicted until the sentencing? It doesn't matter. It's a fine point. Fine being silly, relatively unimportant detail, to be honest, I think.
Oh, okay.
And then the First Amendment auditors versus the police and First Amendment auditors versus the government employees. I don't know, man. He just wanted to go after Mark because Mark talks like he really knows what he's talking about, but sometimes he gets the details wrong. And then also he often does get details wrong. Not that he's a liar, just that he's mistaken or misstating. So
okay.
Yeah. He's literally a Paul denier, though. I think you might be too, though. Are you a Paul denier? The Apostle Paul?
Oh my God! Is this the Inquisition? Oh my goodness!
I'm not being confrontational about it. I don't know. You might be. I can't keep track of my Paul denier listeners and callers.
I don't know what that even means.
Oh, that the Apostle Paul was an antichrist, basically.
No, I think
A fraud.
Here's what I think about Paul.
Okay.
I think Protestants are all about Paul because they can't say anything nice about Peter, otherwise they'd have to admit they're wrong.
Huh.
So they jump onto the Paul train.
And explain that. What about Peter? What about Peter is something that Paul doesn't really cover that much. That makes us Protestants, because you're Catholic, I guess. I forget. I think you are.
Yes.
That makes us Catholics. What do we ignore from Peter?
You ignore that he is the rock. That Jesus says, "You, Peter, are the rock."
Yeah.
Yeah.
On this rock I will build my church. But what did Peter say? What was he about that we're ignoring? Or was it the notion of the Pope?
That he's the founder of the church. He's the founder of the universal church. That's what you're ignoring.
But what does that mean? What is that in practical life?
It means that you are rebelling against the universal church.
Oh, the Catholic Church is the universal church. And we're
Catholic in Latin means universal.
Right, yeah. So the Catholic, which means universal, church, we're rebelling against it and dividing and saying, you Catholics are not normal Christians. We're going to start America.
We're going to follow Paul.
I follow Paul, didn't Paul preach against that too?
I don't know.
He said, is Christ divided? He said, some of you say, I follow Paul, I follow Apollos, I follow Peter, I follow Christ. Is Christ divided? Paul preached against division in the church, and yet the Paul believers among the Protestants are divided. So wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that you, me, and Robert in Kansas have more in common with Abraham Lincoln than we do with anybody biblical, simply because of removal from time.
You're right. Interesting.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
You said that some blacks are Catholic.
Yeah.
That's a big thing in New Orleans because Louisiana, was French were Catholic. So there's a history of Catholicism in the deep South.
Right.
In New Orleans. Because it was the largest city in the South.
Aha.
So that's why you would get a large amount of black Catholics.
Oh, and a lot of Irish are Catholics, and a lot of Irish mix with blacks. They mix more per capita, I think.
Okay.
And so that would make them more Catholic too, I would suppose, perhaps. Interesting, man. Thank you, Daniel in Texas. Appreciate you, man.
You're welcome. Okay.
All right. Take care. Bye. Wow. I got to read some super chats, guys, before I get back to calls. Oh, I neglected to get to that super chat from Zenya. It's me, Zenya. Says there's avocado cutters out there. If some people can't be trusted with knives, LOL, lots of laughs. Hat tip to the late, great Colin Flaherty, Irishman. Do we need safety knives now, too? A lot of people are cutting their hands on avocados. It's in the news. It's in the Washington Compost. So don't cut towards yourself. And don't cut in such a way that if the knife slips, you get yourself or your body. Because you don't want to have to go to the emergency room. Or even if you do, just have some decency. Don't pollute the emergency room with your silliness. So many people go into the emergency room because they were inattentive. Stay present. Pay attention to what you're doing. Thank you, Zenya. There's avocados cutters out there. Funny. WT1 with a Rumble rant. Hake, can you explain to the flat earthers how all the air isn't sucked into the vacuum of quote-unquote space. Happy White History Month. Thank you, WT1. I cannot explain it. I don't understand it. I only learned physics in the small scale of practical what we do. I know that if I throw this thing that way, it's going to go that away. But I wouldn't do that. I know that if I lift up this cup, it won't just keep on floating up into the air. Because there's a push. There's a push. And maybe that push is what's happening. Is it gravity? Gravity is just a theory. Like, we don't even know what it is. We don't even know if it's real. We just call it that. Hake has some gravity about him today. In his mind, and all thoughts are lies. Hat tip to Christ Conquers. Is he the one who was something like that? Hake is a useful idiot for communism and baltardiality. I am a full-grown baltard for life. For life. Thank you, WT1. I cannot explain it, but I know that physics changes. The physics of things change at scale. That's why, yeah, on a small scale, water's relatively flat. Even that scale, relatively flat. Even it's relatively flat. But water goes... I'm waving my arms. Water goes like this. And even inside of that, it has ripples inside of ripples. So thank you, WT1. Thank you, he says. Nice. So at scale, water could become a big old ball. At the small, tiny scale, water is a ball. You see a water droplet? It's a ball, or sometimes a teardrop. I've never seen a real teardrop up close, because I don't cry, nor does anybody else I know. Except Joel Friday at home. Just kidding around. Thank you, WT1. That's cool. Some Rumble rants, guys. Over on Buy Me a... No, I already read the Rumble rants. BuyMeACoffee.com/The Hake Report. Carver says, hey, Hake. I heard the MSM. Hey, watch your language. YouTube employees had floated the idea of censoring MSM, because that's right-wing for mainstream media. And mainstream media. I heard from mainstream media that Trump might put Liz Cheney and her ilk up for treason charges. Oh, phew. I thought you were going to say into his cabinet. I normally try not to feel really strongly on issues one way or the other, not to get too involved or take things too seriously, but I am kind of curious what you think about this one. Yeah, like in what way did she commit treason? I mean, you're going to have to charge a third of the country with treason. Or half the country with treason. Killing people is bad and even worse when the government does it. But is treason crime really enough to a time of war? Close enough to a time of war thing where it's more moral? Are treason executions based swift justice or a big disavow? Oh. Case by case, I guess. Case by case. I don't know, Carver. This is the first I've heard of this. Maybe he was just talking big, you know? Manuel bought 5 coffees. Socialism is a transitional period from capitalism to communism. Interesting. I call it commie capitalism. Maybe that's a transition into socialism. But we're already pretty socialist, if you think about it. You don't own your own land. You have to pay rent to the government every year. Otherwise, you get it taken away and you get thrown in jail, maybe. Capitalism is the freedom to produce, or you get put on the government dole. Capitalism is the freedom to produce goods without government interference. Socialism turns workers against employers, and then commies take over private businesses. Rumble wouldn't let me send this, says Manuel. Thank you, Manuel, for your 5 coffees. Generous and cool. Thanks for the information. Popcorn's Thump Keg. Always interested, in my opinion. I find it interesting that the same people who scream that the government has gotten too large, there's no accountability, etc., are the same ones going right on to the idea of total immunity, long pause, for a member of the government. How do you make sense of that? Because it's Trump. That's why they went after Trump. That's why he had to invoke this immunity thing. And he's the one member of the government who's not against the people. So I guess that's my best attempt at an explanation. Whether they're right or wrong, I don't know. Because many things are used for evil, and many things of those same things are used for what's right. And on the topic of freedom of speech, you're actually for people to be able to say whatever they want as long as you agree with it. Right. Right. That's what I said. But I'm also for you guys disagree. I'm like for you disagreeing because I like your disagreements. You've learned to contain yourself, I think. Mr. AI or Ms. AI or Mr. Human Being or Ms. Human Being. Thank you, Popcorn Stump Cake. I do not disagree. All right. So, once again, catch Joel Friday TV coming up next. Evan is a first-time caller out of Texas, Tejas. Evan, thank you for calling and holding there, man. What's up?
So, lots of calls from Texas today, huh?
Yeah, Texas.
Interesting. We're very talkative people. All right.
That's cool.
So, I'm hung up on something you said earlier. You said freedom of speech. You don't believe in it? You believe in censorship, you said.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I find that very confusing because freedom of speech is the institution that really allows you to even do your job right now and allowing me to speak to you and disagree with you.
But we are very limited. We don't really have freedom of speech in America and on YouTube and even Rumble. You notice that?
Fair enough.
It's like very limited. And I don't like their type of censorship. Rumble is a little bit better. But I like my type of censorship. We're all for some form of censorship, you know?
Well,
like I would probably censor pornography and stuff like that. If I were to run Twitter, let's say, you know? Go ahead.
Censorship should only exist if that speech is followed by an action that is criminal. Like, if you say, like, you have the right to say, I'm going to punch you in the face, and you have the right to put your fist in their face until you hit them. That is a crime, and then your speech should be held accountable.
I'm going to actually you. I'll do a CJ on you.
All right.
If you put your fist in their face, that's threatening. That's assault.
Okay, yeah, that's menacing. True.
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, there's vulgar speech that's like a public nuisance that is like disturbing the peace. I know that you're giving, when I say stuff like these, they use this against the Christians and the whites and the men. And so I know that I'm setting myself up for getting it used against me. But there is like people cussing in public. Like sometimes it's not right.
They're right.
It's not always their right. There's like a time to be like, okay, you're going too far, because it could be like a crazy person. Okay, there's a time in place to cuss even in public, perhaps, but oftentimes it's not in the time and place. And
let's take a look at the laws of other countries like Germany or England. In England, offensive speech is censored. And I would assume that questioning the monarchy or going too far against questioning the monarchy is also susceptible to arrest. But in Germany, you can't even have specific symbols or do hand signs.
That's true.
Like raise your right arm.
Yeah. Yeah, they're anti-Nazi. And then in England, you can't even criticize the gays. So I'm with you, man. There's a lot of censorship that's not for Christ. I'm for censorship for Christ, or at least for my idea of Christ.
Well, okay. I just think that even in that sense, if you're trying to spread Christ, our government originally, and you will probably disagree with this, but it was founded to protect people from the outreach of religion. And with freedom of speech, that actually allows the church and churches to expand more freely, if you think about it.
I think that there was when they said wanted freedom of religion, they meant freedom to be different types of Christians, freedom of disagreement within Christianity, I guess. Not to be like, we don't have to follow the Church of England and stuff like that. Because the Church of England was very political and oppressive, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know in what ways.
Why would they specifically write in the Constitution that Congress shall not promote nor suppress any free practice of any religion?
I don't think it said that. I don't think it said that.
I really think it does, Hake. We could look it up, you know.
I think it says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
But they were by and large Christians, and some of them were what they call deists, who believe that there is a God, but he kind of leaves us to ourselves. But it wasn't all about, Muslims can come in here and take over and subvert, and atheists can come over here and subvert, you know? I don't think. They did not have a problem of atheism and Islam. I know that they were fighting Muslim pirates. Right. So they had a totally different situation here. They weren't talking about any old religion, you know?
Well, I think that what you said, like the division between just Christians and deists, and there were Freemasons, and there were Muslims in America.
Okay. And Jews, weren't there some Jews?
Yes.
Weren't they
more
slave owners per capita? I may be wrong. That's just something that I've heard.
I have heard that.
Who knows? Shout out to the slave owners. I support slave ownership.
The way I understand it is that Africans enslaved other Africans in war. They sold them to primarily Arabs, and then those Arabs sold it to America, which the buyers consisted of white people and Jewish people.
Okay. Nice.
Mostly.
And then there were some blacks who were slave owners too, and they cracked the whip extra hard.
Yes.
So anyway, back to...
I'm not too well read on that.
Are you Christian, out of curiosity?
I consider myself a pantheist, which means I believe that the universe itself as a concept being everything, the universe encompasses everything. That I attribute the universe to being God itself.
Oh, okay. Well, are you white, or what are you?
I am white, yes. I'm half white, half Native American.
Oh, okay. I call that American Indian. Is that part where you get the pantheism, or is it from something else?
It's just through life experiences, studying theology, personal experience.
Oh, okay. But you are you're probably culturally Christian, right? Like your parents maybe, or the people around you?
My parents are,
yeah.
Yes. My family is Christian for sure. And I do see value in Christian practices, especially in that of Jesus. But I believe that Christianity has really taken a more political meaning in America, which is unfortunate to me. And they take the focus away from Jesus.
Huh. I think they focus too much on Jesus, and they have a cockamamie idea of what Jesus is. But interesting, man. We'll have to talk about this more another time. I hope you call me back.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. It was nice calling.
Yeah. How old are you, if you don't mind my asking?
I am 19 years old.
Oh, nice to hear from you, man.
All right. Thank you, Hake.
Yeah. Take care, man.
You too.
Bye. Man. Okay. Yeah, so No One Else I Know, Mary Rice Hopkins. We're going to play that one. Chris in Los Angeles, California, on the line. I only have a couple of minutes left. What's up, Chris in L.A.? Thanks for calling and holding.
Hey, James, how you doing?
Doing well.
Good to hear from you again.
Yeah.
Yeah, just wanted to throw some fun facts and some theories on the Catholic Church. I actually grew up Catholic. I went to Catholic school for 15 years. I was an altar boy and all that good stuff, and so pretty heavily into the church, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Unwittingly, I was just raised that way. It wasn't something I decided to do.
Right.
But as I got older, I went to more of a Christian church and I got saved and all that good stuff, and kind of started to look at the Catholic Church a lot differently. And
you were more the Hispanic Catholic, right?
Right, definitely.
Like Mexican
Virgin Mary.
Yeah.
You know, they're very heavily into the Virgin Mary and the saints and all that. I mean, I think Catholics in general are that way, but
right.
I mean, I think Mexicans, they obsess over Mary. You know. But you know, the what I wanted to point out is, as I started to look deeper into the Catholic Church and its history, I started to see these, or not personally seen it, but just reading these theories that they describe, that essentially the Catholic Church is rooted in Babylonian mystery religion. So, you know, back in the days of Nimrod, you know, there's a story of his wife Semiramis cut off his thing, and then tried to bring him back. Like, she scattered his body across and bring him back, and that was Tammuz was his son. And so, like, if you look at this image of Mary with the child, and same thing with another point of Catholics is they love to put a lot of emphasis on baby Jesus.
Yeah.
And you often see Mary with the baby. Well, that's actually a spin off of that image of Semiramis, which is the Babylonian god with the goddess, and Tammuz, which is the son of Nimrod.
Wow.
And so
you may be right about this. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. So you know, the Bible talks about, in the Book of Revelations, there's going to be the mystery Babylon religion, and basically, you know, like the Romans, when, you know, they adopted those traditions, you know, centuries later of, you know, the Babylonianism, but they just gave the gods different names, but they're actually the same gods, you know. So like Zeus, or was just another way of a spin-off of Nimrod, or, you know, so on and so forth, right? And then these demigods like Hercules were like the offspring of like humans mixing with the fallen angels, because it talks about how in Book of Genesis how the angels came onto the women, they were attracted to them, and giants were born, and pretty crazy stuff, right? Real wild theories.
Yeah.
But essentially, you know, they took when they would conquer these other nations, instead of saying, hey, you're going to adopt our religion, they just assimilated and took those pieces of religions and then kind of made like a hodgepodge of these different people's beliefs.
That's what I've heard. That is what I've heard.
And when Christianity took off, like, people were holding on to those Babylonian-rooted traditions, but they also wanted, you know, the best of both worlds. And so that's where they formed the Catholic Church, to kind of like appease everyone. And people were illiterate. They didn't really know what the scriptures said, so they went by what the priest said.
And
but
who knows, maybe some of the scriptures were written by these propagandists.
Could be. I mean, there's a lot of. There's archives in the Vatican that there's probably all kinds of artifacts that, you know, they hide, and facts about history that we don't even know about.
You know what, man? I have to cut this short. Okay. It's good to hear from you, man.
Yeah, likewise. But, I could go on forever, but yeah, I just wanted to, you know, give some food for thought on that. My point being is, I think it's a false religion, and it's there to mislead. Lead people away from God. That was my point.
Interesting.
Worshipping of man rather than God.
I'm sure there are some Christian Catholics, but there are a lot of unchristian Christians and Catholics.
Yeah, I think the organization, you know, the as a whole, not necessarily the people. I think people are just misled. But anyway, I'll let you go, man. Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. Yeah, thank you. Chris in Los Angeles. Bye. Actually, Hassan, do the JLP 28-second children, education, and stress. I got to wrap it up, guys. This has been the Hake Report. Hey, me in Minnesota. I cannot get to you. William in California. Man, I'll get to you guys first thing. Adios, America. Here's a JLP thing on edge of mummification. Bye.
Black Americans have forgotten that morality is greater than the intellect of the world. They think worldly knowledge is greater than spiritual knowledge. And so now they are bending over backwards to make sure that their children get the quote-unquote best education so they can get the best jobs because they are emulating white Americans.
Not good.
And as a result of that, they're stressing their children out and become what they hate.
A shout out to Lead Fixture. I'll read your coffee. Yeah, it's a party in the USA. Nice. Adios, America. Joel Friday TV next. Bye.